Dzień dobry Państwu.
Good midnight. Welcome to the first press conference today of the National Electoral Commission, at which the judges here will present the results of the presidential election. So with us are Judge Hermeliński, Chairman of the Commission, Judge Kozielewicz, Deputy Chairman of the Commission, and Judge Marciniak, also a Deputy Chairman. Right. Let me read the announcement of the Commission dated May 11, 2015 about the results of the presidential election in Poland held on May 10. On the grounds of the respective legal regulations, electoral law, the State Commission publishes the results of the voting and the result of the election for the Polish president held on May 10. The National Commission, based on the aggregate reports from all the constituencies, has established the following results of the voting for the candidates. The voting was held in 27,000 and over 800 constituencies. The number of voters was 30,688,570 people. The number of ballots issued to the people was 14,993,468 voters. The number of those who voted via their representatives was, and the number of those who voted with the certificate that they were eligible. Here is the numbers, and the number of voters who received the election envelopes for correspondence voting, and the number of votes, correspondent ballots received back, and the number of valid votes was 15,023,886. The turnout was 48.96%. The number of votes cast was 15,023,886 votes. The number of invalid, disqualified votes was 124,952 votes, which is 0.83%. The number of valid votes was 14,898,934 votes. That is 99.17%. Majority required for the election, which is more than half of the valid votes, was 7,449,468 votes. The individual candidates received the following numbers of valid votes. Brown, 123,123, which is 0.83% of the valid votes. Duda Andrzej Sebastian, 5,179,992 votes, is 0.36% of the valid votes. Jarubas Sebastian, 238,761 votes, 1.66% of the votes. Komorowski Bronisław, 5,061 votes, which is 33%, 77% of valid votes. Korwin-Mikke Janusz, 486,000, which is 3.23% of the valid votes. Marian Kowalski, 77,000 votes, which is 0.52% of the votes. Kukiz Paweł received 20.8% of the valid votes. Magdalena Ogórek received 2.34% of the valid votes. Palikot Janusz, 211,000 votes, which is 1.42% of the valid votes. Paweł Tanajno, 29,000 votes, which is 0.25% of the valid votes. Jacek Wilk received 46% of the valid votes. The National Commission has found that out of the 11 candidates, none of them received more than half of the valid votes, and according to the electoral law, and on May 24 this year, there will be a runoff. In the runoff, we will choose between two candidates who have won the largest numbers of votes, which is Mr. Duda and Mr. Komorowski. And this announcement has been signed by all members of the National Electoral Commission. So that's it as regards the results of yesterday's voting. Any questions we hear? Have all the constituencies done well with counting the votes up within 24 hours? All the election commissions did well, but the London thing is that, considering the large number of votes to be counted up, the commission did it in the last moment, just before 10 o'clock in the evening. And if that was done later, after 10 o'clock, we would have to qualify the voting in London as invalid. Warsaw, we had to wait for the London results to be delivered here. So that's why it took some time. Well, it's not delay. In fact, we did expect it might have happened. And a microphone, please. Any problems with making the reports? No problems, no errors found in them too. Any other questions from the room? TVN 24. How was the testing of the IT system? Because I understand that you were testing the IT system before the parliamentary elections, and now, how is that? What are the results? All representatives of the electoral commissions or the judges' commissioners were satisfied with the work of the system, so I think it is a good omen for the upcoming parliamentary elections. Of course, we will test it on and on, but we want to, polish it up and to so well with some more tests that we can be close to 100% sure that it would work out fine by the election in October. Thank you. Microphone, please. Why were the invalid votes disqualified? I know you may not know much about it, but you must have some information about why. No, they do not include this information in the reports. But maybe you can. Well, the problem is that it was the problem of the last autumn's election, but the election for the president and for the local authorities, the Polish law says that the district commissions, the constituencies which have direct contact with the ballots, they cannot disqualify any vote, because there can be two reasons why they are disqualified: because there's more than one candidate selected, or none of the candidates was chosen. That is a theory. How many of them were disqualified because the voter put an X next to more than one candidate, or how many votes did not put the X at all? Well, the Polish lawmaker did not allow the Commission to identify the reasons why the votes are disqualified. Well, of course, there is the Parliament is debating on the new electoral law. Maybe they will straighten it up somehow, and maybe they will make the commissions responsible for identification of those disqualifications. If they do so, then those constituencies, when looking at the ballots taken out of the box, they will have to probably they will have to find out why the ballots are to be rejected. But that's ahead of us. This time, the commissions out there did not have to do so, and our commission does not do it at all, as well. So the lawmaker quite deliberately resolved this in this way. Before it was the duty and responsibility of the commissions to identify those reasons, but later on the lawmakers, changed a law so that the commissions are not allowed to do so until now, and that's why we're not able to tell you what were the reasons of disqualifying the ballots. And probably the same will be the case in October. What will be the schedule of the NEC Commission 2 weeks from now, when we find out the final results of the presidential election? Well, the schedule will be quite similar to this one now. Just like on May 10 yesterday, but maybe the results will be available sooner, but probably we're going to work in the same way, Warsaw as usual. It's a lot of constituencies here, and those constituencies abroad, may also force us to stay long into the night until we can get on the results. So probably we're going to work the same way as now. When the difference between two candidates is just 1 percentage point, it's very close to the number of the invalid, disqualified votes. Aren't you afraid that we can have some allegations again that part of the votes were doctored? Well, it's hard to say what the people or some organizations, what will they say about that? Well, we cannot control that at all. What we want to do is just to make the elections as transparent as possible. We have no objections about the performance of the constituency commissions. We have not seen any attempts to do and to fiddle with the votes or with the ballots, anything. So those people did their service well, and because it is service, it's public service. And if anything like that, any such allegations are made, although we believe they would be ungrounded, but well, if they are made, then well, it's beyond our control, and we cannot change that. All we can do is to demonstrate with what we do that we are determined to carry out the elections in a fair and transparent way. That's all. Well, it's important to stress the role of the performance of the constituency people, commissions. The main burden of work the main work in all elections is done by those commissions. We have nearly 28,000 of those electoral commissions, and on the election day and after the election, after the voting, it's about 20,000 citizens working there, and they are delegated there by the candidates. It's not just, passers-by. It's not general population. It's people trusted by the candidates. And if that takes place in so many thousands of places in Poland and outside Poland, well, you can see so just three of us here, grandfathers, and in fact it's nine. Even if there were 9 strong people, not just people like us, they would not be able to control things that go on in 28,000 of locations, and even the big heroes would not be able to do this work, and to stand behind every one of the 200,000 people and see and watch what they do and control them, especially that many of them are out of the country, and there is millions of voters involved as well, right? There are local government people involved, those who provide the rooms, those who provide the ballot box, which are, well, not perfect sometimes, but it's not us who provide them. It's the local authorities who buy the ballot boxes, and it's their responsibility, not ours, right? We cannot control that. So there's a lot of things done during the election which are done by a variety of institutions, not just our commission, right? We are only 5, or we only 9 grandfathers, and 3 of us in this room, right? There was a proposal quite recently to count the votes publicly like they do it in the UK. Maybe that would calm down and all those allegations. What we mean public counting, because the amendment of the election law, if it's adopted, it will provide for filming and taking pictures of the vote counting, and so if it's adopted, of course. But now we cannot comment on such ideas because it's not up to us. It's up to the lawmaker. We have no legislative initiative at all, but that's absolutely beyond our competence and control. It's up to the lawmaker. Well, you may add something to it, but I don't think we should dwell on this subject because it's not our job. Another question: is there any way of checking those disqualified votes, just to see, just to know what were the reasons of their being discarded? Is that possible? You mean the disqualified votes? Yes, the 129,000 votes in these presidential elections, yes. Well, but I think that Mr. Kozielewicz explained that it is impossible because the lawmaker does not allow investigating the reasons of this. We would do it against the law, so we cannot. If the law changes, which is quite likely, then the situation will be different. Then we will probably be able to do that, but only after January 1 next year, if adopted. So even in parliamentary elections in autumn this year, we will not do that. Any more questions from the room, please? Okay, thank you very much.